If you crack first, Dave, it won't make you any less of a man.
I'm nowhere near cracking.
Neither am I, my friend.
Dave. And oh, Matthew, what is it now? For God's sake, no one's smoking, okay? But nothing! You know what we need around here is an anti-whining ordinance. So just sip your sniveling little lip and haul your skinny ass out of.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and we've had some interesting news regarding the Ray Fisher, Walter Hamada, Joss Whedon, Geoff Johns controversy that's been going on. Obviously, I believe Warner Brothers was hoping that Ray Fisher would just kind of go away quietly. He has not gone away. He certainly has not been quiet about it. Recently, he was removed from the Flashpoint movie that's scheduled to come out. He was not very happy about that. It feels like he's got, Joss Whedon's out of the picture, but he is firmly in on Geoff Johns now. There's definitely been repercussions about that now. And here to talk with me about that is the man with the most fatal takes on all the interwebs and YouTube. Fatal J, how you doing?
Fatal J is here. One of Wes' best guests. Shout out to all the other guests, though.
Absolutely. I am very blessed to have a wonderful stable of people that are willing to come in here and talk to me about the things that they love. Obviously, you love the Snyder Verse. You love the DCEU. You like talking about all these things. There has been a dark cloud over all these things for quite some time, ever since Ray Fisher made his allegations of discrimination in a hostile work environment during the reshoots of Joss Whedon's Justice League reshoots. Obviously, that kind of ties into what you're doing with the Snyder Verse as well. What's the latest on this?
Oh, man, Ray Fisher is just dropping nuclear hurricanes on everybody with information about what's going on. Look, this stuff has been going on for a long time with Joss Whedon. It's receipts on him all the way dating back to the Buffy era when he used to do Buffy. And yes. I mean, a lot of people think Ray Fisher is just blowing out hot air. This is not true. You got allegations, and that key word, allegations, of Joss Whedon pushing people against the wall, screaming at them, telling them they're not nothing in Hollywood if it wasn't for him. That type of abuse. How can somebody work in that type of mental abuse? And sounds like physical abuse. So Ray, he all about the truth, man. He said this himself. He said if he had to go back to working at a fast food restaurant, so be it, as long as the truth comes out. And I can't blame him.
Obviously, there was an independent investigation. I don't believe that he got the result that he wanted. Do you think the truth is ever going to come out, or are we all just going to have to be speculating about what actually went on during the shooting of the reshoots for Justice League?
I think, just like I said, you have to say alleged and allegations and all that stuff because he cannot 100% say what exactly went on. He can't go out to the public, go out to the internet and say it because guess what? You know, Joss Whedon got those lawyers, Jon Berg, Geoff Johns, Walter Hamada. Those dudes are lawyered up.
He likely signed an NDA for whatever went down during the filming of the studio. So he could end up being liable if he started giving away some details that legally he wasn't available to do.
But you know what? It was this saying back in the day. It says, if you don't stand up for something, you will fall for everything. This guy is just being a whistleblower, and he letting people know how these guys are really treating these actors and treating these people. And I applaud this man, And I know on down the line, he'll get the support from some people or a celebrity who out there who went through the same thing. They'll back him up. But it's looking crazy for him because Ray Fisher just let out that he was removed from the Flashpoint movie that's supposed to be coming out with Ezra Miller.
Yeah, so he did not take that one too lightly. He didn't go into details, obviously, but he did go into the nature of some of his allegations that were leveled against Joss Whedon, Geoff Johns. Now, it feels like Joss Whedon is no longer really his target anymore. He's already got the stain of an abusive type person within Hollywood. He feels like he's already been fired and removed from Warner Brothers anyway. He is going directly after Geoff Johns and Walter Hamada, specifically Geoff Johns, because he's kind of saying that Geoff Johns is Walter Hamada's boy, and he's providing top cover for him. Whatever it is that went on between Geoff Johns and Ray Fisher, it sounded like there was some type of private meeting between the two. Yeah, and he didn't elevate his issues, or maybe he did not give him a response that he thought was professional.
Yeah, Walter Hamada was kind of doing some joking, and he was in the favor of Geoff Johns. And the reason why he in the favor of Geoff Johns is because Geoff Johns got his hand in a lot of stuff that's coming out with DC. We got the Green Lantern series, we got Stargirl, Wonder Woman that just came out. So at the end of the day, I know they're choosing Geoff Johns over Ray because, you know, even though I'm a big fan of Ray doesn't have anything going on with DC compared to Geoff Johns. And Geoff Johns got his foot in the comic books too. So that's like they golden goose right now.
We know Geoff Johns kind of has stepped away from DC Comics. Obviously, he was the chief creative officer. He took his deal with Warner Brothers. Now, he's got his own production company, and they are assisting with several DC projects. Although it's starting to feel like maybe Warner Brothers are trying to distance themselves from Geoff Johns now, because they can kind of tell Ray Fisher's he isn't going to let it go.
I don't think so, man. I think Geoff Johns is going nowhere. Like I saw an article that came out that Geoff Johns is still at DC doing his thing. I don't think Geoff Johns going anywhere. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's not going nowhere.
I don't know. What do you think the end state is for Ray Fisher? Do you think he just keeps going, and Walter Hamada himself, like, is that who he's going to need to take down to get the kind of result of the investigation? Do you think we're ever even going to see public results of the investigation?
Wes, I'm gonna be just like this, sir, because you're talking in the fantasy land, and stuff like that don't happen with rich people. Walter Hamada is the president over there. He's not going anywhere. Just like people who hate Kathleen Kennedy and say, oh, Kathleen Kennedy should get fired. That don't happen to rich people. Rich people get promoted. So if anything, and it's not looking good, I think they're going to push Ray to the side, and Walter Hamada's going to be there, get promoted, whatever. And rich people don't get fired. They don't get taken down unless it's some kind of huge, gigantic scandal. This right here, what we're talking about, is Ray word versus their word. But I believe Ray a little bit more because it's receipts out there about what these guys was doing. Well, at least what Joss Whedon was doing.
Yeah, well, obviously those rumors, and there's been a lot of people go on record about Joss Whedon in the past.
A lot of people, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I think Geoff Johns is absolutely in jeopardy. I don't think he's going to really continue to be associated with DC all that much going forward. We know that he was supposed to have a comic book imprint at DC. Now, this goes back several years. That's not happening. He's taking those properties that he was working on and he's releasing them. We've got one at Image Comics called Geiger with Gary Frank, a longtime collaborator. It sounds like he's got another project with Jason Fabok that they're working on that was likely to be a part of that imprint. Now, do I think you will see Geoff Johns write a DC story every now and then? I do think so, but I don't know. It feels if Walter Hamada is gonna sacrifice Geoff Johns before he lets any of this stuff stain his reputation permanently moving forward.
No, I mean? Man, the sacrifice is Joss Whedon. Justice League didn't do good. What else use do you need for Joss Whedon? Joss Whedon, okay, that was the sacrificial lamb. Okay, he's gone. But when it comes to Geoff Johns, I'm telling you, he's not going nowhere. It's a lot of HBO Max shows that Geoff Johns got producer credit on. His hands is in a lot of stuff.
Greg Berlanti is the one that's really doing he's the showrunner. He's the one that's kind of got all those productions going. I think he's more like an advisor. I don't think he's actually like hands-on producing these products anymore. Maybe the Green Lantern thing, because it sounds like he's more heavily associated with that one.
Yeah.
Maybe Stargirl. Do you see Stargirl being a big hit on CW? I don't.
No, man. That's the CW. That's trash. CW is trash. But I will say this though. Now this is Fatal J in Fantasyland. I'm playing Fantasyland. If the Snyder Cut does successful, if it blows up and just is incredible produce sales and get subscribers out of the kahooey, I said kahooey, on HBO Max and just blow up, I'm hoping Zack Snyder has enough leverage to where they ask him to do a sequel and Zack Snyder can start that Snyder Verse. Now, that's just me being in Fantasyland right now.
I think you are in Fantasyland. It sounds like Zack Snyder's had enough, and he wants to separate himself. It feels like
he don't want to get involved. He don't want to get involved with the drama. It's too much drama going on.
And it sounds like Walter Hamada himself has had enough. He's like this. All this stuff might be like the breaking point to where it doesn't matter how successful the Snyder Cut is on HBO Max. I think he just wants it all to go away.
And that's true. And it's just so weird that they gave Ray Fisher this news right before Zack is about to do promotion for the movie. The movie's dropping in March. From this point to March, that's not enough time to be playing around and coming out with negative press. I don't know, man. It's just Zack always been a nice guy. You don't never see him talk about anybody on the internet or media or whatever. So,
well, he said to anybody that was complaining about his Superman was a virgin. That wasn't very nice.
Well, that's true.
I'm not a virgin. I didn't like his Superman. You talking about me, jerk?
No, but man, look, man. If I'm gonna put it like this, if Ray is not involved with the DC anymore, it's not looking good for the Snyder Verse either, in my opinion.
No, I think the Snyder Verse is basically a done deal, and Walter Hamada has had enough. Whether he doesn't
when
want
they
to deal with it anymore.
when they interviewed him about and if you pay close attention to how the next DC movies are looking, they're not going to have nothing to do with the Snyder Verse. The Suicide Squad movie that's coming out this year is a total reboot. You got the Batman with Robert Pattinson, nothing to do with the Snyder Verse. Ben Affleck, nothing to do with him. The Flashpoint is the only thing that has to do considering the Snyder Verse. And I think they're going to put that direction into the new DC.
Like an Easter egg for to bring people in there that are curious. Like how do you get these characters into this movie? Obviously, the Flashpoint is talking about multiverses. There is going to be, whatever universe the Joker movie took place in. You got the Snyder Verse. You've got the whatever universe this Batman movie that's coming out, which isn't part of the DCU. It's going to show how DC like multiverse is like loosely connected, which I think is interesting. Obviously, Marvel's doing the same damn thing with Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I'm laughing right now because the people won't be able to see it, but I see what you named this stream, sir, and that's very.
You just saw that? Oh.
I just see.
That was just for you, buddy.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. No, sir.
No, you said I couldn't use that joke anymore.
This is my thoughts. I just wish the best would happen for Ray. I really believe this man is not saying all this stuff just for attention. I truly believe there was some bad stuff going on, and you can kind of tell the Justice League cast they're kind of rocking with him, but at the same time
they were there for a minute, but now they're not.
I know they got real quiet all of a sudden. So I don't know if
Jason Momoa's not out there like on the Ray Fisher train anymore.
Yeah, he got quiet.
Got quiet.
They probably said, "Sir, Aquaman 2, remember?"
Yes.
And he probably said, "Yeah, you're right." So I don't know. It ain't looking good for Ray. It's not looking good for him.
So do you think he's potentially sacrificed a lucrative career for this?
Whenever you have a whistleblower that goes at a corporation, it don't end good for that whistleblower. If he's removed from the Flashpoint, that could have helped his career. Because I'm just gonna be honest with you, Ray Fisher, he's not that big of an actor outside of Cyborg like
this was
that.
Supposed to be his springboard into Hollywood.
Yeah, this is supposed to pop off his whole career. Because even Ray said it himself. He said, without this Snyder cut, he would have just faded off into oblivion. To put your career on the line, it got to be something really bad going on over there at DC WarnerMedia.
Well, you imagine Walter Hamada did not get into the position that he's in without knowing people in the industry. I'm sure they're familiar with him, people that are probably friends with him that are running other production companies. And
yeah.
I don't know. You do feel bad for Ray Fisher if bad things happen to him, if he's not getting the justice that he likely, he probably deserves. I do think Geoff John's days at DC are numbered. We will likely see him here and there. But I think Walter Hamada is going to do everything he can to separate himself from all this controversy. He just wants to go away. That means there's no Snyder Verse. I think that means Geoff Johns is going to be kept at an arm's distance, and it means there's no Ray Fisher, in future DC movies. And I think it's all Walter Hamada and, probably the bigwigs at Warner Brothers kind of watching their own, like doing some CYA and trying to, clean the ledger out for, moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. It hurts me to say that, but I mean, truth is truth. I can see it coming. Ray only hope at this point is if that Snyder Cut does the impossible.
Well, I think his real only hope is if there's recordings of what happened and the truth gets out.
Well, he leaked some recording yesterday, but it was just the investigators saying, yes, you're a good man, sir, and you was doing, I believe you was saying what you was supposed to be saying. It was just very vague. It wasn't
a smoking gun.
Yeah.
But some people have tried to imply. I didn't even want to bring it up. I was like, it didn't say anything.
It was just the woman, the investigator, to being nice to Ray. It didn't drop a bomb on anybody. It didn't, she was just, you're a good man, and I believe what you're saying, and I believe you believe what you're saying. And it was just.
He needs the Christian Bale tape where Christian Bale's, what are you doing?
That's what he needs. Who was that? What's Mad Max's real name? Mad Max?
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. He need one of them tapes. He need the Mel Gibson
audio or something like that that'll probably vindicate him.
Because that Mel Gibson tape that took Mel Gibson out of Hollywood for a long time, man. He got into some serious trouble.
Yeah, that was not a good dashboard cam moment for him at all. So,
yeah,
I think unless there's a smoking gun out there like that to kind of back up Ray Fisher or one of the big stars, on Justice League coming forward and kind of giving some details, which I just don't see happening.
I don't see it because they would have said something by now. Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, you can forget about Henry Cavill. He don't talk to nobody.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get an expose, 20 years from now when everyone's made their money and they're not worried about their careers anymore. But I just don't think anyone's got the testicular fortitude to put it out there.
I kind of frown on that type of stuff, though. You wait 20, 30 years and then you finally let the cat out the bag. I've always hated when they did that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, it'll be a best-selling book, maybe. If people still care about Ray Fisher and what happened on the set of Justice League with Joss Whedon. I don't know. It's crazy with everything happening with the DCU. You can see why Walter Hamada would want it to go away. They got a lot of eggs in that basket, just as far as the movies, HBO Max, Arrowverse. They're heavily invested.
Look at the signs, man. Look at the big movies coming out. It don't have nothing to do with the Snyder Verse no more. It don't have nothing to do with the DCEU, the DC cinematic universe. It don't have nothing to do with it.
I think a lot of people are treating the Snyder Verse, the Snyder Cut coming to HBO Max as a celebration, but really it's probably just a wake. It's like the end of a very short era.
You know what, man? That's what it sounds like to me. I was reading an article with Ben Affleck. Everybody think Ben Affleck fits to get a series. I'm hoping on that, but him being in Flashpoint, from what I was reading in that article, this is just a good send-off for him. It's like the last hoorah for him being in the Batman suit, because he said the only reason why he put the suit on anyway was for his son. So this it ain't looking good, man, but it is what it is. You just got to move on.
Anything else that you want to say before we wrap this conversation up about Ray Fisher, the allegations, Walter Hamada, Joss Whedon, Geoff Johns, and
even though Ray is going against a big corporation like that, always stand up for what you believe in. Don't keep it inside. Don't crush it. Don't walk away from it. Always speak what's on your mind. You might not see the blessing now, but you will see it later on. You'll see it later on.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.